Well, hey YouTube, welcome back to the project here. 2013 Volkswagen GTI. Did the engine build. Now, I guess the title of the video series here talks about the engine build, but I'm actually jumping into the body work now, or the paint anyway. Give you an update. I got the hood pulled off, and as you saw probably, here it is sitting on the sawhorses. I got the initial I used some airplane stripper to get the clear and the, the base coat off. And this black primer is that, they use an electrified tank, so it's really stuck on there pretty good. So that's going to take some sanding. And I'll eventually get it down to the bare metal, just like it is up here on the front, so we don't have any issues there. As you can see, I kind of scraped through it whenever I was using a metal scraper, but yeah, just wrapped this up. That's just water beads on there. Just brought it back in the garage here. And sorry for the lighting, but get you an update on the engine. I went ahead and replaced the PCV system. So this has got a diaphragm in here. There's a diaphragm up underneath there, and of course that affects your crankcase ventilation. The other thing is I noticed a lot of ticking on the injectors. So I went ahead and pulled the injectors out, and I used the manifold off of this car that's original versus the one that came with the replacement engine block. And I cleaned those injectors out really good, and I was throwing a code, and it was a large leak evap. I think it's P0455 and P0456. And so I went and replaced the gas tank cap, and that was like 40 bucks at Volkswagen. And then I started researching on YouTube, and I found out that perhaps the evap purge solenoid would have been the issue. So after I got that, all the injectors cleaned and got them all back on there, come to find out, in order to replace this, there's a couple of, you can either cut that hose, but it's actually heat crimped on there. So you can either cut it and then use a little splice. A lot of people probably do that and then replace this valve, or what I did, go ahead and pull that manifold back off, put a new one on, and put it all back together. And I'll tell you what, it's purring like a kitten. You can still hear those injectors tapping, but not quite as much. One of the issues that I did have with this new PCV valve system is it actually connects, and I'm sorry for the lighting, but pretty much where my finger is, comes out of here, this hose right here, and then it kind of clips onto that. And I couldn't get that clip on there because there's just not enough room to get my fat hand back there. So I've got it poked in the hole, I just haven't got it clipped. So I'll get some long needle nose or something like that and get them down there. Or I may pull that pipe, turn it so I could get my hand in there to clip it. But anyway, yeah, one of the issues I'm having, I took it on a little sporty drive, let it get up warm, 190 degrees or so, let the engine warm up, let the tranny get warmed up, and I took it down a good straightaway. And between third and fourth gear, it's like it wants to shift, but it doesn't quite shift. And then when it does, it drops the RPMs way down. So I'm gonna have to figure out, the shift points between 3 and 4 aren't set in the transmission solenoid, or the ECU's not talking to it, or something's going on there. And when that happens, I can hear a lot of valve chatter up here. So it's like, gets up to about 5,000 RPMs roughly. And I start hearing that chatter, like it wants to shift, it wants to shift. It's almost like it has too low octane fuel in it. But there's something going on between that third and fourth shift, so I've got to diagnose that. Other than that, everything perfect. I think I talked about replacing the windshield washer fluid. Sorry, the spray hose is from the hood, but the reservoir, and I've got that filled up, and it's holding fluid. Holding coolant fine, not burning oil whatsoever. It definitely has that kind of EGR smell after you get on it. You're sporty and then you come back down to idle. You can kind of get that little whiff of that Oh, you know what that smell is, that kind of PGR system or PCV system, that kind of, if you were to pull this hose off, you know what I'm talking about, this kind of crankcase vapor smell. Yeah, so we're gonna jump into the paint, and luckily this paint isn't bad at all. This is a 2013 engine or vehicle. There's some curb rash on the wheels and stuff, and so I did an initial wash, and I used just some McGuire's wash and wax, and then I went over it with the clay bar. So the paint is smooth. Now I need to go over it with some rubbing compound and some polishing compound. And then of course I need to repaint this hood. And I was able to find out of Oregon a paint kit that comes with the primer, the base, and the clear in 12-ounce cans. So you get a 12-ounce can of the primer, 12-ounce can of the base coat, whatever color you choose. This color is, like I said before, black pearl essence, gloss black pearl essence. So paint code is C9XL, I believe it is. And so anyway, 2 of those sets, I think each set was roughly about $49. So 2 of them will do this hood and any touch-up areas I need to do. You can see that little scuff there, That's just clear, actually. And then there's a pretty good clear missing here. So I'll be able to, hit that with the clear. And then those headlights, I'll try some of the headlight restoration approaches, toothpaste and the turtle wax, the 3000 grit sandpaper, all of that, and the Krylon. I'll try that, but I think we're probably looking at some new replacement headlight lenses there. They're just too cloudy. They're not yellow, they're just cloudy. And you know what I mean, whenever you put a brand new set of headlight lenses on there, how sharp it does make it. I did order replacement side marker, the Euro lights here. That bulb I had burned out, so I've got it replaced. And just make sure it was working. And right before I picked up the phone to make this video, I've got the replacement over here. Alrighty, so like I said, we're gonna jump into the paint. There's one little ding. I don't know if it's gonna come out real well. Let me see, you can only catch it when the light hits it just right. There it is, right there. You can see it right there. See, it's kind of, and it's right on that little seam. So I think we might just leave that alone. But there is a pretty good scuff on the bumper. I'm gonna need it to buff out. And then I don't know what they're dragging in and out of this, but you can see this kind of scratch on the clear there. So we'll get that buffed out. Now, I'm old school. I like the paste products. However, I have found a combination of these products. You can get them about AutoZone, Advanced, Pep Boys, O'Reilly's, whatever, but just the clean cut rubbing compound. Use that where you have the scuffs, the real deep scuffs. Use that, obviously do the clay bar, then do that rubbing compound. And then on the entire car, I swear by this stuff. It's just clean finish polishing compound. It's cheapo stuff. I mean, what is that? 18 fluid ounces is like $9. And then tax on top, so let's say 10, 11 bucks. But that's what I did on that little Mini Cooper, and then I just used a polishing pad on a Harbor Freight little, they call it a professional polisher. But just get that pad and, buff out the car. Don't use the pad with the rubbing compound. Do the rubbing compound by hand. Microfiber cloth. However, with the polishing compound, I use with the buffer and the foam discs. Make sure you get the right grit, I guess you'd call it, or the density of the foam disc. This one here is made by Grite. Got this, it's a correcting pad. And after you're done with this, wash it out with clean water. Squish it out until the water comes out clean, and then let it air dry, and you'll be able to use that for your next go around, and then it won't be clogged up with polishing compound and whatever it takes off of the paint. Now, the approach I use for doing this paint work, Wash first, then clay bar, then rubbing compound, then polishing. The reason I do that is the initial wash gets all the, the dirt off. The clay bar gets the sap, the bugs, the road tar, asphalt, things that might be stuck on it, usually in your quarter panel areas. And then your rubbing compound, like I was saying before, you can get out, some pretty good, you can get that out. That little grime there, that'll come out of there. And then after you do the rubbing compound, come back with the polishing compound. Once you've done that, obviously you have no wax on your paint. It's totally exposed, no UV protection whatsoever. So, I'm not a professional, I'm a home do-it-yourself in your garage guy. But after you do that, then go out and wash it. And I will recommend the Meguiar's Wash and Wax. I don't have any, I think I used the last of it on this car, but you can just get it at O'Reilly's, Pet Boys, AutoZone, Advance, whatever. And that stuff puts out a really good base wax. And then the gold standard, you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, is the gold class Carnauba wax. Comes in a can, it's about 20 bucks. But if you do your process right and you finish up with that Carnauba, this thing will glow. After you do the Carnauba, one last step. And this is something that just came out recently. And the reason I use this process is because I've used it before and it does work, and you don't have any conflict between the materials of the products. After you've done the Meguiar's hand wax, Mother's CMX ceramic spray coating. Use this and a terry cloth towel, spray it on the towel, lightly wipe it, and that will seal everywhere. And then you've got that nice ceramic looking coat on your paint. And this is gloss black. It's got a little bit of metal flake in there. A little bit, it's kind of pearly looking. I guess that's the pearlescent. But that will make this pop. And when I get done with the video, I've got a couple of more videos I've got to run. Obviously, I've got to get that hood painted and then get it mounted back on the car. And then I will show you each step of what this paint looks like as we go through the process. So I've already done the wash. This is the first step. Wash and clay bar. So this is the first step. We've got a nice, clean, smooth paint. Now we're ready to come back with our our rubbing compound, then our polishing compound, then our Carnauba, our Meguiar's Gold, and then we're gonna go over it with the Mother's ceramic coat in the spray bottle. And I've had that bottle, I use it on my truck, my Mini. I used to use it on my motorcycles, and that stuff, you can take your car through probably 12 of the gas station washing machines, that you'd pay, $6, whatever, after you fill up your gas, and it will still come out there looking like a brand new paint job. Now you're gonna have to probably depending on where you live, you're gonna have to come back and spray it on there a little bit more. And obviously, a couple of times a year, you do want to wash your car, get all the sap and the crud off of it, and then come back with it. Like I said, I love rubbing on the paint with that hand Carnauba wax, and the smell is outstanding too. It takes you back to the hot rod times, back in the day, showing my age. So there she is. Thanks for watching. I do have the old engine and all the parts over here that came off. I still got the engine cover for this car that's sitting over there, but this is kind of the stuff that I'm going to be sorting through over the next couple of weeks and just see what I want to put out there for either offer up or Craigslist. Maybe somebody else out there in the local area is doing this project or something like that. One thing I did do, and I'll show you, I did go in and detail the whole inside of the car and replace all the dome lights. So She smells good, she looks good. Got all that pet hair out of there. I got all the tools back into the spare tire. Checked the air pressure on the spare tire, did the air pressure on the tires themselves, put LED lights in the tail light bulbs. And then I think I had to replace this, this reverse light. And that's real easy. You just lift the tailgate up, clip the little thing out, actually let me show you while I'm talking about it. It's real easy, it's right here. Lift the tailgate up, pop this little access here off, do that. And there's your connector for your light. And there's a little clip. So pull your connector off here, your wiring, then pull your bulb holder off. There's a little clip. It'll come down, replace your bulb, clip that back in, plug your wire, check the light, and then put your cover back on. Just like to slide it in like that. There we go. And there you go. Alrighty. The neat thing about this color black of this car, it almost has a purpley color. If you can see that in that fluorescent light, it's kind of that purpley, like a black grape, or yeah, maybe a little bit of cherry in there or something like that. But those wheels turned out really good. Look at those. I got the little Volkswagen caps back in there. And then I've got the little plastic covers over the lug nuts. After I'm all done with the paint, I'm gonna pull it in here. I'm gonna flush the brake system out and get new brake fluid in. That's the one thing I did not do on the engine part of the project. But I did replace all of the fuses just to make sure they are new in the fuse box, both over there, as well as the one in the side compartment of the driver's side. And those of you that do not know, all of your engine, air conditioning, climate control, stuff like that, that's in your engine compartment fuse box, which is right here. You just clip this back, lift that up, there's all your fuses, your main fuses, alternator, starter, etc., fuel injection. Your interior fuses, anything gauge related, heated seats, turn signals, stuff like that, is in this panel right here. There's a little slot, you can barely see it, so get a strong flashlight and stick a screwdriver right there, pry it, it's going to pop off, and you have about 6 or 7 fuses in there is all it is. But there's the look of the inside. And if you remember what this car looked like when I got it from the salvage place after the engine had blown, a lot of the clips were missing. The paint obviously was missing there, but the engine blown. The underneath was just coated with oil. It was throwing all kinds of codes, O2 sensors, everything like that. We have absolutely 0 codes on it. Engine purrs. I am doing just, those little extra things just to make sure that it's perfect. And then I'm still going to be working on it, make sure it's a little bit more perfect. One of the neat things too, and I'll throw this in here just an add, is this engine did not have the clip on the turbocharger blow-off valve arm. And Google that if you don't know what I'm talking about. I can't get in there and show you because it's pretty much right there. But there's a little clip that goes on there, and that keeps that from rattling your diverter valve. And well, I'll tell you what, having driven and listened to one of these GTIs or even the Volkswagen CCs and the Jettas, listening to those that don't have that little clip on it, it's really, really obvious. Let's see if I can show you on this turbo over here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this little arm right here, it goes through this lever, and that's your diverter. And then of course it's controlled by this diaphragm. But all there's this little clip that goes right over there. Now you do have a C-clip on there, but there's an extra clip to keep that from falling out and keep it from rattling around, because it's basically what happens is over time that's moving so that it's going like this. It's wobbling in that hole. Alrighty. Well, this is a long one, YouTube, and I'll go ahead and wrap up here. Got the license plates, holders, and frames, courtesy of Amazon, made in Volkswagen. And I did get a replacement Volkswagen grill emblem because the little clips are broken off that hold it into the hole on the grill, and so that's why that's sitting over here. And then these are the sprayers and heaters. It's kind of cool. It's got a heating element in there, but that's your windshield washer spray. It heats up so it doesn't freeze. And so I got those pulled off the hood. And then I did get some of the fender washers, like 10 of them, but that's, you know, to hold the grill on, the skid plates, stuff like that. Basically, they are screws that look just like that. Okay, so I've got those that I will put on. And then here's the replacement side markers. Now, if you go to the cheap ones, I'm going to show you that one, and then I'm going to show you the original Volkswagen one. See how that kind of honeycomb look is? You can make it out, right? Kind of honeycomb looking. That's the original. Here's the aftermarket. So you're gonna get a lot more light out of that one than you will this one. And so anyway, there we go. And then there's my list of stuff to do over there as I cross it off. I cleaned up and I used a good throttle body, but that is a good throttle body. That one is usable and repairable. There we go. So we'll talk to you again, YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again. Bye.